ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Wuthering Waves video. And this time, we've got a bit of a situation over here. It's going to be Suisui. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Suisui is here. And that is how Jinsei pronounces her name in the story. So I guess that's how it's going to be from here on out. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people actually like that, but deal with it. All right, so her kit has been fully showed in-game due to the fact that she has a trial in the story itself. And you actually do play her for quite a while. We might attach like an actual gameplay clip when we play her later in the story today. Maybe like somewhere at the end of the video after we explain the kit, just so that you can actually see like how she works. Because of course, we're going to be going through all of her numbers and her actual design. And then, of course, get into a bit of a playtest later. So this is where we're going to have an opportunity to see how well she works with Yang Yang, whether or not she's actually going to be a must-pull, and of course, whether or not you should actually save for her, because she is the next character up, and depending on the other units that you have on your account, there's a good chance that you might actually want to, well, dedicate some resources to her. So let's go ahead, let's get this started, and of course, get it all run down first with her role. So she's a supporter, she's a support and healer, provides damage amp, and also applies Glacio Chafe. And when you take a look at the stats over here, looks like she scales off ER and HP, right? Or as far as I'm concerned, because this is the trial one that they give you, and the trial characters at the very least do usually represent the stats that they're roughly supposed to have in game. Looks like she's built exactly like a Shorekeeper. So when you know what that means, right? You're probably going to be able to use Shorekeeper's weapon. And I'm not talking actually about Shorekeeper's weapon. I'm talking about the weapon everyone has on Shorekeeper. Variation. So, yeah, she's a rectifier user, scales off ER. And if it wasn't already obvious that she scaled off ER, we didn't even need to have, like, the trial to know that. You would have known from her 4-piece or 5-piece Sonata set effect, where upon inflicting Glacio Chafe, which... Suisui. I gotta have to get used to that. Suisui literally does, then, well, based off of her ER, she provides attack to the team. So, yeah, variation is gonna be the GOAT. Probably gonna run double ER 3 costs as well. Maybe 1 Glacio damage 3 costs, but I would save up 3. You know, it's gonna be hard because, like, these are the only 2 3 costs on this set. So, like, yeah, like, I've already got one good to go. I'm gonna have to go farm for some other ones, as you can see, like, later on. But that's kind of how it's looking right now. So make sure that you don't discard any of these bad boys. You're probably gonna want to use some modifiers. I have 2 of them just to make sure. That's, like, not enough. I'd probably try to get, like, 10 ER ones, like 5 of each, and then maybe you're good to go. Yeah, I don't know. Having only 1 of each sounds a little ballsy. So, you go for whatever you want. So, yeah, that's just what it's gonna be looking like on the scaling side. Obviously, also make sure that you have your HP 1 cost as well. And then for the 4 cost, maybe it's crit damage or something. We'll see, though, as we go through the rest of the kit. All right, so... that's all their combat rolls and stuff. We've already covered that. Now let's take a look at our baseline abilities. So, I think we might go back to her inherent skills later. I kind of just want to get this started off here first with, ooh, this is going to be a little bit rough. So there's a lot to her kit. It's one of the longest kits in the game. And so I think we're going to get to the inherent skills later. And we're just going to start off with her forte first because it's probably going to explain a lot of the stuff and then kind of like go from there. So first part, Zephyr stance. Stances seem to be a big thing for the Burb sisters because Yang Yang's got that Azure one. She's got Zephyr. So Suisui starts in the Zephyr stance in her gameplay, much like how Yang Yang starts in the Azure sword stance. So she can obtain Cloud Breath through certain skills. And so I guess the implication over here is that Cloud Breath, right? Max 120 points. When in Zephyr stance, basic attack Zephyr, dodge counter Zephyr, they all restore Cloud Breath. Casting Resonance skill Zephyr stance also restores 40 points of Cloud Breath, which is the active resonator. Triggering a successful dodge restores 35 points of Cloud. You can kind of see what's going on over here. She builds up 2 resources depending on which state she's in, and basic attack skills, blah, 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 and the Zephyr stats are going to, well, give her back that Cloud Breath thing. We'll probably take a look at what it does a bit later on, let's go ahead and take a look at the other stance that she's got. So she's also got Drizzle stance too, and that's going to clear your Floral Epistle. So this is probably where stuff's going to get a little bit crazy. During Drizzle stance, she unlocks new combat moves and restores the Epistle through certain skills. So I think the idea over here is that this clearing is just like resetting the state, and then she builds this resource back up. And I imagine, right, for you to get that Floral Epistle research, or Floral Epistle resource, bro, this just sounds like, bro, it sounds like I'm just saying piss. I feel like I just said piss like 10 times, but like that's like literally just what the fucking kid says. Anyways, that is a max of 600 points. And when she's in Drizzle stance, her basic attack, her heavy, and her resonant skill, they all restore Epistle. You probably see what's going on over here, right? Her resources seem to function very, very, very similarly in that using her basic attacks and then her resonant skills, they restore the resource depending on the state. She also restores a bonus extra if she triggers one of her special dodges, right? Her Parting Mist dodge in any of those states. So we probably want to find out what Parting Mist actually is. So while performing attacks on the ground, you can press dodge to use Parting Mist at the cost of stamina. There you go. She gets a special dodge. Her dodge is unique compared to everybody else on the roster because her dodge shows up on the Forte Circuit. And I guess the big thing about this is that it just chains into her attacks and doesn't interrupt the animation. I guess that's just going to make like some of her rotations feel really smooth if you're able to get off a bunch of dodges at once. Guys, remember, she's a support. You're probably going to spend like 5 seconds on field with her. So like her kit is like extremely long, but I think you're just going to go through these attacks like immediately. So yeah, those are going to be the two initial forms over here. And we all know you build up your resources using those different attacks. Now let's go ahead and find out, well, what else is she able to do? So heavy attack, Drizzle stance. That just looks like one way for her to restore Floral Epistle, so I don't think that's anything crazy. I don't know why it's in the Forte Circuit, but I guess it's just showing that it scales over here. When in Drizzle stance, keep holding the normal attack button after casting the heavy attack to cast this. Oh, okay. So this is just like a kind of like neat little attack chain that she has. And I guess she's also got like a special, when in Drizzle stance, cast this skill in one of the following ways, Swallow's Cut. Release the normal attack button while casting Drizzle stance, and then while she's in the air, use it. So let me just describe this entire section of her kit over here. I don't think you're ever gonna do this shit. Yeah, my personal take on this is that this entire like sequence over here, it's a bunch of attacks that you're probably not going to use. Maybe you will though, because as far as I'm concerned, they kind of look like special. They kind of look like some follow-up attacks that she does when she enters into the Drizzle stance. Maybe that's going to be the fastest way for her to gain Concerto. It might actually be, especially if it's like one of those moves where she does like all like the spins and shit. We'll see though. So from what I'm seeing so far, her kit doesn't look that crazy at all. It's just mostly the part, I think, the fact that she has two separate stances and she's a support. So it's kind of like, oh, that is a lot of like kind of like complexity for a kit that you know isn't going to be on the field for a very long time. But that is a little bit similar to Chisa, I guess. So yeah, this is how the various forms are, or the various Fortes are actually going to be showing up over here. As you can see, right, you got like the baseline empty one, and then you got, I don't know if this one's Cloud Breath. This one might be Floral Epistle. I think this one's Floral Epistle, and then this one's going to be Cloud Breath, because this one's got 600 points. Each one of these is probably 200, and then this is probably just the 100 over here. And so, yeah, that's one of the cool things that you got. So, casting Resonant skill can grant Cloud Breath or Floral Epistle without hitting a target. Oh, okay, that's a neat thing too. All right. Her normal attack to me doesn't look like anything crazy. Yeah, this is the Zephyr Stance attacks, and so Zephyr Stance has a separate level of scaling. It's in the normal attacks compared to your Drizzle stuff, which is in the heavy. It's probably very likely you're meant to only actually use her Drizzle Stance stuff, and this stuff over here is going to be entirely cosmetic. And as far as I'm concerned, this shit does actually no damage. Remember, she's an HP scaler. This shit is level 10. And that's a 60% on an HP scaler. I think you keep this at level 1. I don't think you level this at all unless you're griefing as like a gamer. Keep this at level 1. There's no point. You're going to go from like 10 damage and attack to I think like 50. Now we got a Resonant skill. Resonant skill Zephyr Stance. While in Zephyr Stance and Cloud Breath is not full, use your Resonant skill to have Suisui thrust forward, dealing glacial damage. And if she's the active resonator, cast or restore Cloud Breath. Awesome. Can be cast in midair or close to the ground. But this is also the other thing. While in Zephyr stance and at full Cloud Breath, her resonance skills replaced with Awakening Spring, and casting this consumes all Cloud Breath and pulls in nearby targets and sends her into the Drizzle stance, dealing glacial damage and inflicting glacial chafe on the target one time. Well, there you go. So this is how her kit works, and I'm like 99% sure this is how it works now. Very, very, very simple. You start her off in Zephyr stance, right? You build up Cloud Breath using like her resonance skill as well as her basic attacks. Then you use her enhanced resonance skill over here, Awakening Spring, to enter the Drizzle stance. And then once you're in the Drizzle stance, you're going to have 0 Floral Epistle. Then Soy is going to do a bunch of basic attacks and resonance skills and stuff like that to fully restore all the Floral Epistle. And then I guess you'll consume them. Where do you consume them? I haven't actually seen where you consume the Floral Epistle yet, but I guess we'll find out over here. All right. Enrichment. Holy shit. Casting Awakening Spring or intro skill Tinkling Jade grants all nearby resonators in the team 1 stack of enrichment. And incoming resonators receive healing from Soy at the cost of enrichment. Okay, so this is where her healing comes in. Once she transforms into Drizzle stance, she applies a buff that, I guess, heals the team. But that also happens when she uses her intro, too. Do keep in mind, though, Soy is probably going to start off the T's rotation, so you won't get this healing until you cast this on your first rotation. That's what I'm wondering. And I'm seeing over here, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Awakening Spring is actually going to deal damage. Yeah. Yeah, no, that scales at 28.63% of her HP. That's actually going to deal damage then. So you definitely want to make sure that you cast this, because that's going to nuke. Wait, that might hit like a Shorekeeper discernment. That might almost do like 100k or something like that. So do keep that in mind. This is a big nuke that she has in her kit. She's also got a second resonance skill, I guess a third one actually, that becomes available once she enters Drizzle stance. This one is just going to go ahead, have her thrust forward, and then restore Floral Epistle. Looks like almost the same ability as her Zephyr stance one, but it just gives you the Floral Epistle resource instead of Cloud Breath. Kind of like makes sense. Now, we've got her Liberation, and boy, oh boy, this thing is fucking stacked, bro. Okay, let me just, let's take this piece by piece. Casting the skill deploys a Ceaseless Landscape that lasts for 30 seconds. When Ceaseless Landscape is active, Soy enters the roaming transcendent state when casting her outro skill. Okay, so you want to cast this right before you outro then, because I assume she needs to be in the transcendent state. So Ceaseless Landscape is going to grant all nearby resonators in the team the following buffs. Oh boy. Inflicting Spectral Frazzle, Fusion Burst, Glacial Chafe, and Arrow Erosion, or dealing the corresponding negative status damage so Zani can actually get the buff, increases the max stack limit of the corresponding negative status the target can receive by 3 for 15 seconds, and the effect does not stack. Wait, does this work with Havoc Bane then? Wait, does Havoc Bane even work with this then? Or do you need a Havoc Bane stack limit increase still? It doesn't say Havoc Bane. Okay, alright, so it looks like this doesn't increase. Yeah, it looks like Chisa still might have a home even after the release of this unit. But I imagine there's now going to be, like, bro, now I'm pretty sure, like, Swo Ming, the umbrella, like, the little umbrella girl, I'm pretty sure she's going to be the, she's probably going to be the stack limit increaser for Havoc Bane then. Yeah, she's probably going to be the Havoc Bane stack limit increaser. Yeah, the little red-haired, I'd put money on her, in comparison. So I guess this is what I'll say. It looks like Soy is actually going to be like actually the next Shorekeeper for Zani teams. Like, I imagine she works in Zani teams. The Fusion Burst teams look okay. Like, they definitely look I don't know why Fusion Burst teams would be bad. Glacial Chafe teams definitely look good because she also applies her own Glacial Chafe. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that she actually applies a little bit more than you might have thought. Yeah, her Drizzle stance basic attack. The third hit pulls in targets, and the fourth hit applies Glacial Chafe, so don't worry, she does it in more places than you thought. Not really that many. Okay, I'm not seeing Electro Flare there yet, so that's interesting. Maybe we'll see it a bit later on. So yeah, Arrow Erosion sounds like it's pretty good and covered, but as far as I'm concerned, you probably don't want to use Soy with Cardathea, because Soy gives attack, so like, yeah, don't fucking do that. But Glacial Chafe and the Fusion Burst teams, yeah, they both want attack. And I think Zani really likes attack too, so I think it should be fine, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe Zani's actually going to be good now. We'll find out. But yeah, simply dealing the damage is also going to raise the negative status stack limit. That's pretty cool. And this effect does not stack with other stack limit increases. So, yeah. Inflicting a target with Electro Flare or dealing the corresponding damage also increases the max stack limits of Electro Flare and Rage. Okay, so this is functionally exactly the same as like Chisa's outro skill. It functions slightly differently, but it kind of does exactly what hers does. Consuming Havoc Bane stacks on the target, and this is where it differs from Chisa's. Consuming Havoc Bane stacks on the target after landing a skill allows the Resonator's Havoc damage to ignore the target's defense by 6% and the Havoc resistance by 12% for 30 seconds. And this effect does not stack. What the fuck was it going to stack with? That's a little bit interesting. So that's where you get the Yang Yang buffing. That's where Soy Soy is just going to be a very, very strong Yang Yang buffer because, well, that's a lot of actual raw damage buffs that you get. 12% Havoc res reduction or ignore, that's a lot better than 6% defense. Like that. When enemies typically have like 40% res or 20% res, right? You are like, bro, that's like 50+% res pen. Like, people don't realize that like 6% defense ignore is not a lot because you're now up against 96% of their defense, which is a fucking lot. If they have 20% res and you ignore 12% of it, bro, that's like over 50% resistance penetration that you have right there. And that's why res reduction or res penetration is so strong in this game, because almost every fucking enemy has like 10 plus, and you can just take that and turn it into like 0 in a lot of cases. That's why Lupa is so strong, and that's why Soy Soy is going to be so strong for Yang Yang, even if she doesn't increase the stack limit for Havoc Bane. And guys, this is the unfortunate. You really want the stack limit of Havoc Bane for this character? You really want it increased because then you get things like an additional 36% damage out. That's what we got going on over there. Now, let's see what our intro skill does. Okay, attacks the target, dealing glacial damage and inflict glacial chafe 1 time. And while casting this skill, consume all cloud breath to pull in nearby targets and enter drizzle stance. So I'm beginning to see how her kit works. This is a little bit like Mornier. Notice how Mornier needs to enter her hovering state, right? Mornier needs to enter her hovering state to, well, go through her kit and actually do her stuff. Soy Soy needs to enter Drizzle Stance to do their stuff. And their first rotation requires them to do some shit in their baseline form to enter into hovering or Drizzle Stance. But from the second rotation onward, they'll just go into their enhanced state. So this unit more so seems like Mornier for negative statuses. That's probably a fairer thing to say. Like, she's like literally the Mornier of negative statuses, because that's way more similar to how her kit actually works. And then she's also got her intro skill over here. That scales with HP. So oddly enough, you're going to want to max out this character's intro skill and like their resonance skill if you don't need healing. If you don't need healing, skip their liberation. And to max out their damage, max out their skill. You're actually going to get healing as well. No, their skill is a good idea to max out. Yeah, you really want to max out their skill and max out their intro skill. And those are the main ones. Yeah, those will give you the highest DPS Soy Soy you can have. And like, pretend this shit doesn't exist because you're only actually using it on your first rotation. All right. Now, I think the last piece of the pie over here that I haven't actually seen yet, maybe it'll get answered later. Okay, all right, here we go. I was asking the question, what the fuck does Floral Epistle do? I was like, why are you building up 600 points of this shit? Why would you even want to do any of these attacks? Because nothing in her kit has mentioned consuming these. But don't worry, we found it. It's her outro skill, and this is the longest fucking outro skill I've ever seen in the game. Bro, what the hell even is this? And this is the thing. It has different effects depending on the amount of Floral Epistle you consume, bro. So, like, that's why there's 6... Bro, this is crazy. Okay. So, I guess that's what those 3 meters are meant to be. This is your Floral Epistle bar. And based off of, well, the different levels that your piss gets to, you get a stronger buff. So yeah, I guess you want to be at 3 pisses for the maximum buffs. Great. I love thinking with geometry. Well, let's find out what the fuck this outro does. Holy shit, bro. Oh my god. All right. Resonators in the team gain 25% all damage after 30 seconds. All right, just end it here. Why is there still like... Soy Soy enters Roaming Transcendent with her ultimate. Her liberation. Ceaseless Landscape is active. She exits Drizzle stance and consumes all floral epistle and unlocks the following effects based on the amount of epistle consumed. 0. They gain reflecting shadows for 6 seconds. That's so bad. Resonators with reflecting shadows have increased resistance to interruption. Okay, that's like not even an effect. Bro, why'd you even put that in there? 6 seconds? Alright, at least 200. If Ceaseless Landscape is active, Suisui may perform a plume step for the first time for within a certain time into her transcendent dance while in roaming transcendent. What is a plume step, bro? Alright, I guess we'll find out later. Bro, what the fuck even is that? This is the craziest outro skill I've ever seen, man. If at least 400 epistles consumed during this roaming transcendent state, the active resonator within the Ceaseless Landscape deals more damage if they have reflecting shadows. Okay. For every 1% of Suisui's ER above 200%, the resonator deals 0.2% more damage up to 12%. Okay, so the cool thing is that it looks like Suisui's buffs aren't necessarily dependent on the type of character that they are. She might be more general, actually, than Mornier as far as I'm concerned, because I don't see this saying you need to apply a negative status to get the damage buff like this motherfucker's weapon. Yeah, like this bitch over, she did not need this restriction. At max stacks, when resonators in the team inflict negative statuses, they gain 24% all attribute damage bonus. Yeah, like her shit doesn't work unless you actually inflict negative statuses. Even her S2 doesn't do anything unless you inflict negative statuses. How do you get Threat of Bane? This is the thing. You can't get Threat of Bane, guys. You can't get Threat of Bane unless you inflict negative statuses. So it's like, yeah, like her kit is like, without negative statuses, you don't get shit. In this kit, without negative statuses, you still get these buffs. So it's actually like an improvement in the design over Chisa. Let's be real here. This could have easily said the resonator's damage when they inflict negative statuses is increased up to 12%. You do realize he could have just said that, right? But it doesn't, because she's just more general and player friendly than Chisa is. Sorry, that's a fact. Chisa sucks. If Ceaseless Landscape is also active, Suisui may perform a second plume step. Okay, I need to know what these fucking plume steps are. All right. Performing a plume step grants reflecting shadows to all nearby resonators in the team for 6 seconds, inflicts 1 stack of Glacial Chafe on all enemies, and heals the nearby active resonator. Okay, so this basically means that reflecting shadows is going to last for 18 seconds. Every time she does a plume step, you get 1 more Glacial Chafe application, followed by 1 more or 6 more seconds of reflecting shadows, which gives you interruption resistance. So you get, I assume, all of these buffs when you get 600. Let's just see what 600 is, because most people are not going to be doing this shit unless they have 600. Like, if you're not, I think you're griefing. So when you have at least 600 floral epistle, when Suisui performs the first plume step, all nearby active resonators within her domain gain the following effects for the rest of Roaming Transcendent, which again lasts like up to 30 seconds. When they use an outro skill, she gives them undulating mist. And when they consume a negative status or electrorate stacks on the targets, they gain an attack increase. Okay, so you can see over here, this is where you get some of the restrictions in her kit. That 12% damage buff over here, right? That's free. But to get this attack buff over here, that scales up to 50% based off of her ER, you need to be able to consume the negative status. And this is the thing. This really sucks for Cardathea. This is like really bad for Cardathea. Like, holy shit. It's bad. Because Cardathea doesn't scale with attack. She scales with HP. And while she does consume erosion, you don't want it consumed in like this way. You 1000% don't want it consumed in this way. Second, I am not entirely sure if Zani or Phoebe can even do this. I don't think you can consume Spectral Frazzle stacks. So maybe Zani and Phoebe are fucking cooked as well. Zani's a conversion? Okay, well, yeah, she's not consuming that shit. She's converting it. So looks like Zoni's not working here either. Kart's not working here either. Hiyuki will work because Hiyuki's Glacial Bite consumes Glacial Chafe to freeze the targets. So Hiyuki has consumption in her kit. She's good. And does Imith have consumption? I don't think she has Fusion Burst consumption. Is there Fusion Burst consumption? Does detonating it consume it? No, detonating fusion burst doesn't consume it, right? Yeah, it detonates by itself. Glacial Bite consumes it. It 100% does, because it like triggers the it like consumes it to trigger the freeze at above 10 stacks. I know that's a literal part of Hiyuki's kit. Because this is also the thing. Why the fuck would Soy Soy not work with Hiyuki? Alright, so are people in chat just typing no because they actually know the answer? Because if I fact check it and it's correct, we're just gonna ban everyone that said no. Because like you like what, are you just being retarded? Like are we just being dumb right now? Because like oh yeah, she does consume them. Oh right. Oh okay. So consume 10 stacks. So you guys are retarded idiots that were just typing no when you know absolutely nothing about the game. You said Imeth. I just said Hiyuki consumes. Like, okay, so now you can't hear properly and you're blaming me. So like right here it says Hiyuki consumes them. So yes, this works with Hiyuki. Anyone telling you otherwise is a fucking idiot. Like straight up, they just don't know how Hiyuki's kit works. Like, guys, there's this thing over here called being confidently incorrect. There's a good chance I know more about the game than you, and I'm going to be right when I say something. And the thing is that when I get like 20 people saying no, and then you're all wrong, bro, like, I kind of should just like ban all of you, right? Like, where'd you guys come from? Like, the stupidity is crazy. You're just getting a bunch of people just going in and just typing actual misinformation. Anyways, so this works for Hiyuki. Technically, Cart can get the buff, but it doesn't do anything. And then you also have the, I guess the future synergy of Sin and Electro Flare, because this is the thing. I think it's kind of obvious that Electro Flare is going to have some consumption mechanics in it if it's going to be called out like this. So, yeah, I think that's going to be something that we likely see. Now, this attack buff is massive, up to 50%. It's genuinely huge, right? And this is something that Yang Yang is also going to be able to receive because Yang Yang consumes Havoc Bane stacks. So, yeah, this is a rather specific buff, but I think overall, Soy Soy should probably be like a strong general support as a whole. I think that without this 50% attack, she doesn't provide that much. She kind of did like this is the thing. Every support currently provides like their own special thing. Soy Soy's special thing is a fuck ton of attack. That's like how she works. Shorekeeper's thing is crit rate and damage. Mornier's is damage through off-tune buildup rate, and of course the additional damage to, you know, tune targets that have the tune debuff on them. So hers over here looks like it's a relatively minor damage buff of 12%, her 25% outro, and then this 50% attack. And as a whole, she seems strong, but she also seems relatively balanced to me. Because some people have been saying, right, oh, she's got Shorekeeper's S2. Yeah, does Soy Soy give 12.5% crit rate and 25% crit damage? Yeah, wait, do you guys see a 12.5% crit rate buff and a 25% crit damage buff in here? Like, did I miss that? Did I miss that buff and I just didn't see it? Yeah, no, I fucking didn't. So that's the thing. I don't think she looks like that overpowered, and I think she's only going to be good on like 2 teams. Straight up, I think she's only going to be good on the Yang Yang team, and I think she's only going to be good on the Hiyuki team, and then probably be outperformed by Shorekeeper or Mornier in other teams until more Mengzhou lineups appear. But the good news is that she's launching in arguably a better state than Mornier and Chisa. You want to know why? Because Mornier and Chisa both, like, didn't really have teams on their release. She's got 2, and that's going to make her feel way better to pull than almost anybody else. Because this is the thing. You probably have Hiyuki, because everyone pulled Hiyuki, and this character is going to be Hiyuki's best in slot. The new Chisa replacement. Because she's way fucking better than Chisa for Hiyuki, right? So chances are, you kind of just do want to get her. And if you can get a combo of Yang Yang SP, as well as her sister, and you have Hiyuki, those are some incredibly strong teams. You should be able to clear pretty much every endgame reset ever. But you're probably also going to want to get Chisa as well, oddly enough. Oh, wait, Soy Soy's probably going to have 2 uses in End State Matrix. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Soy Soy is probably going to have 2 uses here. So, like, yeah, you should just get her, and then you'll play your Yang Yang team, and then your Hiyuki team. And you're covered. truly Chisa is like dead. I think this unit is actually killed Chisa. I'm just kidding though. Chisa still has one team left. Chisa's got one team left. It's here. Chisa's got two. Sort of, if you're still playing cart, I guess. But yeah, this is where it effectively is. Chisa is now gonna have monopolies over Cardathea, as well as Imeth. Soy is gonna have monopolies over Yang Yang and Hiyuki. That's what Soy is gonna have. But yeah, that's how the cookie looks like it's crumbling right now. Now let's take a look at Roaming Transcendent. Lasts for 30 seconds. During the Roaming Transcendent, Soy will merge with the Bro, all I think of over here is instead of Ceaseless Landscape, bro, all I can think of is that one Dark Souls boss, bro, Ceaseless Discharge. Bro, like, that's all I can think of is Ceaseless Discharge, bro. I watch too many fucking speedruns, and that's like the worst boss in the game. You hit him like 2 times and he just falls off a ledge and dies. So he's like memorable because he's trash, and that's all I can think of, bro. Bro, dude, I hate this name. All right. All right. She go merge with the Ceaseless Discharge and start a Transcendent dance, during which she will perform plume steps at intervals. All right. Yeah, we've seen that. And then when Soy is the active resonator, she stops the Transcendent dance. So she's kind of like Frolova, actually. Okay, so she's kind of like dancing the whole time. And while Frolova's like killing people with Hakati, she's like dancing and buffing the team. Okay, so it's kind of like she'll actually be on field during your other characters' rotations, which is like pretty cool. But yeah. All right, I guess we got the official TLDR of her kit over here. Have 260 total oh, wait. We gotta look at her inherent skills now. And also, stop fucking shaking that shit. All right. We got to take a look at the inherent skills now. Now that we see the entire kit and we understand how she works, right? Get to Drizzle Stance, build up a full Forte, then outro and start like fucking dancing. Inherent skill 1. Consuming Enrichment grants the character 10 stacks of Spring's Birth. Up to 10 stacks. Oh, okay. That seems a little unnecessary, but sure. When the Resonator with Spring's Birth is not at full HP, restore their HP, consuming a stack. Okay. Awesome. Great. She's got like a little bit of on-field healing. Awesome. When Resonance skill, Awakening Spring, and Intro skill, Tinkling Jade, hit a target, they additionally restore 18 points of Concerto and 13 points of energy, and then increase the attack's crit rate by 80% and glacial damage by 240%. Okay, so you want to run crit damage 100%. You want to run some crit damage and probably get 20% crit in her tree, or 20% crit in her echoes. You have 5% base, so you need 15, so get like, I don't know, 2 substats or something, and then have 100% crit and go nuke the fuck out of enemies. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of damage. So yeah, go crit damage on your forecast unless you're a pussy and need healing. That's probably the main summary I can make of it. When a resonator other than Soy takes a fatal blow, okay, this is just the revival passive every fucking unit in the game has. I could read it, but I can't be fucked. If you die, you'll live, and then you have it available every 10 seconds. Or every 10 minutes. I think every support in the game other than Chisa has that one. So, yeah, shouldn't be anything new that there's like a survival passive. All right, so this is my my mods TLDR of her kit. I think this one makes sense to me. Currently, only Yang Yang Zhuan Ling can consume negative statuses. Okay, never mind. My mod's retarded. Hiyuki can do that too. I guess nobody knew her kit. Yeah, I guess nobody knew what Hiyuki's fucking kit does. Like, I guess you guys have just been playing her every day. Every single day for the past, like, since the anniversary, and none of you knew how her kit works. Your mods all of you are LARPers. I don't think there were not enough yes responses when I asked if it consumes negative statuses. I was kind of like testing you guys. And there was not enough yes responses. There was mostly no's. That's why I called it out. I was calling out the number of no's. I was also calling out the lack of yeses, because truly it does seem like you guys did not know that. Come on, guys. Your chat is Drama Andy's and they don't play. Shut up. You're the Drama Andy, you don't play. Yeah. I bet I could pull up your logs and you didn't say yes. Like, why you out here typing that shit like you got the answer right? What, you also got the answer wrong? Like, what are you doing insulting the general crowd of people that got it wrong when you got it wrong too? This is you calling yourself retarded. I know you didn't get that one right. None of y'all got that shit right. I am truly, like, y'all, this is a situation where the entire class fails. I hope you know that. Like, the entire class fails here. Anyways, she's strong. 50% attack buff, 18 seconds of interruption resistance. Don't know how strong that is. 3 heal ticks, 12% damage increase. honestly, that's not the craziest thing ever. Because this is how she works, right? She'll give a decent amount of attack, but I do want you to keep in mind her attack buff is roughly the same as pretty much every other support. Because this is her 3 cost. Yeah, she gains healing damage bonus. So she doesn't really gain like the fallacy of no returns attack buff to the team. She kind of just gives 25% attack, 12% damage, right? 50% attack as well. And then her 25% outro. Other characters like a Shorekeeper going to be giving you 25% attack as well. 12.5% crit rate, 25% crit damage, and 15% damage amp. So it's kind of just like, I think, a game of trade-offs to me. Obviously, Suisui's get the negative stack limit increase, but very, very, very strict requirements on the consumption, so she doesn't even end up working with most negative status teams. So to me, this really does look like a Yang Hiyuki situation. If you have these 2 characters, she is a must pull. If you plan on getting these 2 characters, she is a must pull. If you just have Hiyuki, she's kind of a must pull because then you can get Yang and then you have 2 broken teams. Do you see what's going on? It's like, if you have this character, you should get this character and then also get Suisui. That would be my professional recommendation as like a roster builder. Because then you have, obviously, 2 different attribute coverages and stuff like that. It's, like, very strong, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, right, you'll be good to go in pretty much every game mode that's not Whimpering Wastes. Yeah, the Whimpering Wastes is the one place where this strategy is going to fuck you pretty hard because you won't be able to play both teams at once. So, get, like, a Cheeser or something. I don't know. Cover all your bases. But that's going to be this situation over here. Now, let's go ahead. And if you have Yang and no Hiyuki, well, get Suisui, then go get Hiyuki later. I'm like, what the fuck? It's just vice versa, bro. Like, why you... Bro, this is like, the ingredients say add apple and then add banana. And then somebody's like, what if you add banana first? Okay, then add apple afterwards. What the fuck, bro? Anyways, what the fuck is that analogy? What do you mean? It's like, people ask, what if you don't have Hiyuki? And it's like, okay, well, if you have Yang, then pull Suisui, then get Hiyuki. It's the same fucking thing. What do you mean you don't understand that, dude? Like, you're dumb. All right, let's take a look at your sequence nodes. And as we all know, S2 and S1 have been traditionally very strong for support sequence nodes, but there's not really a reason to go beyond there. Let's see what Kuro Games has decided to do here. All right. Mountains wash into paintings. Resonators with undulating mist also gain attack increases after inflicting or dealing negative status damage. Ooh. Ooh, okay. So this basically makes it so that this kit now works with Zani and Imith. So this makes the buffs work with Zani and Imith specifically. Luke? Are you dumb? Why the fuck does Luke inflict negative status? No. So it's like, I guess this is the thing. This is one of the most dog shit S1s I think I've ever seen in the game. Like, truly, this thing is bad. Like, this is like actually, because it gives you 2 more teams. Like, this gives you 2 more teams that the character can be used in. Which is like, I don't really know if that's even worth a sequence node. Like, is that even worth it? S1 to open up 2 more team options? I don't think so. I think that's actually this is one of the biggest scams I've ever seen. It's kind of embarrassing, but like, it's kind of like pay to lose because you get so little from getting it. Okay, maybe the other effect is decent. The duration of afflicting shadows obtained through the 3rd plume step is extended by 100%. Okay, okay, great. You now have a 24-second interruption resistance over 18. Bro, that doesn't matter. Okay, 6 more seconds of interruption resistance. Wow. And then interruption resistance as well during your drizzle stance attacks that do no damage. Okay, I don't give a fuck, bro. This is the most useless S1 I've ever seen. And this is actually the worst S1 I've ever seen. Holy shit. Now we got S2. Clouds pour like molten gold. All nearby resonators in the team within the ceaseless landscape have their crit damage increased by 50%. Okay. All right. So, I guess this is where she gets, like, this is like the Shorekeeper S2. So there you go. You'll get 50% additional crit damage. You'll deal a fuck ton of damage with this, but, like, if you get Shorekeeper's S2 or Mornier's S1, yeah, you're dealing a fuck ton of damage. Or you get Mornier's S2, you're dealing a fuck ton of damage in your teams as well. So, like, I don't really know what to say here. It's a big damage increase. just like all other supports S2s. Now we got S3 over here. Press the normal attack after casting Resonant Skill Drizzle to cast Basic Attack Drizzle 4. What the fuck? Wait, is this a real part of her kit? Wait, this just added like a shortcut to her Basic Attack Stage 4 in her Constellation? I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Is this worse? Casting Resonant Skill Drizzle Stance grants Kingfisher. Oh, okay. This just speeds up her rotation like crazy. Okay, so this mechanic just literally exists to speed up her rotation. Oh, okay. That's neat. More healing. That's useless. I log to ride the eastern wind. Damage multipliers. A basic attack drizzle. Oh my god. These, I'm pretty sure these scale with regular attacks, so it doesn't matter if they're increased by 100, because they're 100% of 0 is still 0. And 6, staying true to the okay. That's just Shorekeepers. Yeah, okay. The crit damage of her intro skill and her attack that scales with HP is increased by 500%. Okay, there you go. I don't know. Yeah, she truly is like the Shorekeeper of negative statuses over here, but this S1 is like abominable. So yeah, like a lot of her buffs, like I guess her S1, it allows her buffs to work with other negative statuses, but it's kind of just like at that point, bro, you can't even use Suisui in all those teams. Like you would get this S1 to then have her stretch thin between 4 teams, when she previously only had 2, which is like the max she could be played in anyways. So it's kind of like you're opening up team options that another character would do way better for. Like you could either get this S1 or like get a Chisa. And if you're saying getting her S1 over a Chisa, I gotta say you are brain damaged. Like you truly should be getting a Chisa over this S1 like 1,000,000 fucking %. And doing anything else is actually, yeah, it's like woo-wah terrorism, bro. I don't know what else to say about it. That's a terrible fucking idea. But yeah, the rest of her nodes, it is what it is. Now we got our weapon. And this is going to be, this is literally fucking Shorekeeper's weapon, isn't it? Wait, let me just see this shit. What the fuck? Increases max HP by 12. Casting Liberation restores 8 points of Concerto. Okay, that is actually just Shorekeeper's weapon. No, that's the same thing. Inflicting Glacial Chafe grants Snow Taint for 6 seconds. Applying healing grants ripples for 6 seconds. If the wielder has done both while on the field, the next outro grants both effects for 6 seconds. What are the effects? Well, it's just 20% attack. Okay, so it's actually significantly stronger than like Shorekeepers. Not really. It went up from 14 to 20. Okay. So yeah, she gains even more attack buffs overall with her Sig. I still think you should just use variation, not even think about pulling this. So, that'd probably be the best idea for you. Just use variation. Yeah, just use variation. I think they're making this stronger than Stellar Symphony by 6%, which is going to be unnoticeable, right? Like, because they really want people to pull it, because they know nobody's going to pull this shit, because they can just get variation. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, nope. Still, nobody's going to pull this, even though they did make it stronger. It's... yeah, just put a variation on her. This is still the biggest bait ever. This is still, when we do our next weapon guide, this is still going to be at the very bottom. There's no point. So yeah, that's going to be the Suisui kit, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are actually in the middle of our 3.5 story playthrough right now, and I have Suisui available for a bit of a try in the first combat in her section of the quest. And so we're basically just going to be going through, we've already read her kit, try to go through her baseline rotation to, of course, get into Drizzle Stance and then get 600 points. We're not going to be able to use our outro, though, because we don't have another member of the team, so we won't be able to see her, like, dancing and shit. So, do keep that in mind. Okay, all right, so... yeah, she enters this state really fast. Yep, okay. So that's like her basic attack animation. And remember, your goal is to max this out. And once you have all of that, you just outro skill, and then you'll start buffing the team. But as you can see, she generates this resource really quick. You probably just do a basic attack chain and you're good to go. This resource, on the other hand, I think you just do her basic attack chain, and that seems to have given everything. Let's try it one more time. I'm gonna wait for this to expire so I can do it one more time.
Wrinkled my gown.
All right, so you probably, do you skill? Maybe you skill in your basic attack a little bit. Then you just go into here, enter Drizzle Stance, and then... yeah, you just do a whole basic attack chain and that should fill you up. I don't even think you need a skill or heavy attack or anything. Seems like she has one of the craziest easy rotations ever. But yeah, that's going to be the section, guys. Looks solid to me. So I would just say overall, my opinions on her pulling haven't necessarily changed. Unfortunately, no. She doesn't have the negative stack limit increase for Havoc Bane for Yang Yang. That'll probably be on So Ming, right, in a later version. However, if you have Yang Yang, you should just pull Soy Soy. Because then you can pull Hiyuki, and then you're probably going to be doing very good in the game, right? Similarly, if you have Hiyuki, pull Soy Soy, then go get Yang Yang. However, if you have units like Denya, if you have units like Imith, there's not going to be nearly as much synergy as you might have thought, especially with Zodi and Phoebe too, and Cardathea. So kind of the real link over here to Yang Yang is Hiyuki. And if you've got this character built out, which you likely do because she's one of the most pulled characters ever, she's a 3.3 anniversary, which is like Japanese and shit, and like you get what's going on. Well, it's a pretty good idea for you. So I think it's an easy decision to make for most people. Very easy decision to make for most people. And yeah, well, you're probably gonna make it here. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.